President Obama, in his State of the Union address, as I mentioned earlier, suggested increasing the federal minimum wage to $9 an hour from the current rate of $7.25 an hour. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Let's declare that in the wealthiest nation on earth, no one who works full-time should have to live in poverty, and raise the federal minimum wage to $9 an hour.
A lot of people like that. A lot of people standing and clapping. Not John Boehner.
Get that done.
Yeah. I want to dive into the $9 an hour minimum wage a little bit, and I'm going to give you the numbers for this. And I am not making a case. I'm not making any opinion simply by giving you the numbers of what this works out to. Let's put this up in time. If we go from a $7.25 an hour to $9 an hour minimum wage, if you assume a full-time employee working 40 hours a week, 50 paid weeks per year, okay? At $7.25 an hour minus taxes, that's just under $13,000 a year net. Again, this is already taking taxes out, which is just over $1,000 a month. And at $9 an hour, taking out taxes, it's about $15,750 net. So this is an extra about $3,000 or about an extra $59 per working week. So now that we have the actual numbers in front of us, Louis, is this a lot the way Republicans are acting as if it is? Or is this really not a lot and maybe not even enough? We know that this wouldn't even really get us to 1968 minimum wage levels if you take into consideration inflation. So how are we to interpret this? How do you interpret the $9 an hour mark?
I mean, first of all, I think is an extra $3,000 going to really be the thing that helps these families get through. I can understand why Republicans would say this is going to hurt small business, but all they support is large business. So the whole thing is kind of confusing.
So there's a couple things to think about here. Number one is it's not necessarily about what $59 a week means to a person or a family, but it's more about an extra $3,000 every year that people working at minimum wage will most likely not save, but put right back into the economy. And the aggregate effect of that would be significant. Now let's play out the two options, right? The Republican idea is you raise the minimum wage, the company pays more but doesn't make any more. They have less money, so they hire less people. Unemployment goes up. Less people have jobs with which they make money to spend, so on and so forth. Now, option two is the Democratic idea, right? Which is that the company pays more. The employees have more money to spend, so they buy more stuff because these aren't people who are saving money for the most part, making companies more money so they can actually hire more people. So those people make more and they spend more and then they hire more, et cetera, et cetera. The reality is that neither of these systems, neither of these paradigms is completely accurate in a vacuum, right? We can all see how if you mandate the minimum wage is now $30 in this economy, it won't work. It just won't work.
But that's the exact type of straw man argument that is going to get us nowhere.
But hold on a second, Natan, but I'm not done. We can also all see how doing the Michelle Bachmann strategy of reducing to $2 an hour also won't work. In other words, the market, the idea that the market will just regulate the right wage is simply not feasible. So really, we just have to think critically about what combination of policies. Just debating the number, 9, 725, 30, or 2, just that is not alone, Natan, the solution, nor the problem.
Well, what needs to happen is not to set it at a particular number for the foreseeable future, but to just tie it to cost of living increases and inflation. I mean, what we're talking about is a minimum wage. We're not talking about a good wage or a great wage.
Right.
The minimum wage should provide for at least what the federal poverty line is, which it doesn't currently do.
Right.
But I think it's especially important to raise the minimum wage given that unions are being busted by right-to-work laws. So if you're not going to have unions and you're going to have fewer unions, you're basically not going to have a way to ensure that your workforce has the ability to enter the middle class and to pay for products, which is going to hurt the whole economy by reducing demand. So I think it's just basic logic that you need to at least provide a minimum wage that will get you at or above the poverty line.
I agree with Natan. And couldn't we just back up and say, well, shouldn't minimum wage at least reflect inflation over the past X number of years?
Which would be, I think, about 1070 right now.
I mean, come on. If that's not common sense, I don't know what is.
No question about it. I think the important thing is for people, I support this, and I actually think it should be inflation adjusted up to 1070. That being said, I just think that conversations which only look at hiring in the context of what the minimum wage is are not effective conversations. They're not really going to get to any solutions, and really solutions are what the focus should be on.
Agreed.
Facebook.com/David Pakman Show. Please give us a like on Facebook. A lot is going on there. You can also check out davidpakman.com/gear for all of our t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up sweatshirts made from 100% recycled materials. We'll take a break. Back after this.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.